Are you worried about your child's development? Trust me, you're not alone. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 critical signs that your child may be in need of early intervention support. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Ashley, also known as Ashley OT. I am a pediatric occupational therapist, and I primarily work in early intervention, but I service children of all ages to really help with their development. So if you're someone who really wants to learn more about child development and other topics such as autism, sensory processing, fun activities to do with your child to help with their development, make sure you subscribe to this channel. But getting back to why we're here today, in case you are not familiar with early intervention and exactly what that is, I'll give you a very brief overview, but if you want to learn way more about it, like the ins and outs of it, how to get started with it, who's going to be the type of therapists that come in and treat your child, I have a completely different video all about early intervention for babies and toddlers, and I'll link that video in the description below, so make sure you watch that video as well if you're interested in learning the ins and outs of early intervention. But just to give you a brief overview, early intervention is basically a statewide program that services children between birth to 3 years old. And in some states, it may even go up to 5. Usually it's 0 to 3. And the purpose of the program is to provide your child with the necessary therapy services that they need if they have some type of developmental delay. So let's get into some of the most common signs that your child is in need of early intervention support. Now, sign number 1 is a very, very common sign. This is probably the number 1 sign that parents start to notice and pick up on, and this may be the number 1 reason why parents seek out early intervention support. And that is if you notice that your child is having a delay or a lack of speech or a lack of communication skills. So if your child isn't speaking, if they don't appear to be understanding instructions that you're giving them, if they're having trouble with following directions, if they're not verbally expressing themselves, these are often signs that your child may be in need of early intervention support. Sign number 2 that your child may be in need of early intervention support is if they are struggling with getting through their daily routines. So what that could look like is if you have a child and getting them up and getting them dressed is such a challenge, right? Maybe they don't like how the fabric feels on their bodies. Maybe they have trouble with figuring out how to take things off or put things on. If your child is having trouble with tolerating things like toothbrushing, they don't like how the bristles feel in their mouth, or getting their hair washed is very, very hard for them, or even bath time. Sometimes children have a very hard time tolerating the water, or even things like sleep or eating. If your child is a significant picky eater, or they have a really, really hard time with sleeping throughout the night, these are all signs that your child could potentially need early intervention support. A child getting through their daily routines is very, very essential for their quality of life as well as yours. And if you're noticing that they're having some significant trouble getting through their daily routines or participating in their daily routines, you may need to seek out some early intervention support. Now, sometimes it could be maybe the child's personality, and typically toddlers might fight you because they just don't want to do certain things. But I'm talking about children who are truly having a hard time, whether it's because of a sensory issue, whether it's because they have a really hard time with picky eating because something orally is going on that you're not aware of. Maybe they're having a hard time sleeping throughout the night because maybe there is something more medical going on, but you're just not sure what it is. That is when you would definitely seek out early intervention support. Sign number 3 that your child is in need of early intervention support is if you notice limited social skills or limited social interaction. So this could be children who avoid eye contact, children who show a lack of interest in others, children who are very self-isolated and prefer to play by themselves, children who seem to be very timid and afraid to engage and interact with other children, or even engage and interact with you. So if if you're noticing like, socially my child is just not where I think they need to be or should be, it doesn't help to get that evaluation through early intervention to seek out some extra support in this area. Sign number 4 that your child is in need of early intervention supports is a delay in their motor skills. So depending on how old your child is, you may notice that, hey, my child is not rolling yet. They're not crawling yet. They're not walking yet. They're not able to run or jump or pick up toys correctly or use toys correctly, or they're not able to push buttons on their toys or pick up utensils to feed themselves. So if you're noticing any of those types of motor skill deficits, then that could be a sign that your child needs early intervention support. Sign number 5 is difficulty or challenges with emotional regulation. So if you notice that your child often has meltdowns or frequent tantrums, or they have a really hard time with just managing their emotions, this could be a sign that your child needs early intervention support. If it seems like every little thing sets them off, or they go literally from 0 to 100 like in a heartbeat, and you can't necessarily pinpoint what is going on with them, what's causing the meltdown, what's causing the tantrum, this could be a sign that they are in need of some additional supports. Sign number 6 is inconsistent play skills. So if you notice that your child is having a really hard time with playing, whether it's playing with others or playing with their toys, they just don't seem as interested, or maybe they don't even understand how to play, how to manipulate objects, what to play. Play is such a huge learning component of a child's development. So don't overlook it if you notice that your child's play doesn't really look typical, right? It doesn't seem like they're actually engaging in playing and getting something out of playing. If that seems to be a description of your child, you may want to seek out early intervention support. Sign number 7 is sensory processing challenges. So this could look like a child who covers their ears and like melts down when they hear loud noises. This could look like a child that has a really hard time with getting their hands dirty or getting their hands messy. This could look like a child who is an extremely picky eater. This could look like a child who has a really hard time tolerating their clothing. This could look like a child who has a really hard time with sitting still and attending, and they're constantly running back and forth, very active, always bumping into things, crashing into things, seeking more input to their bodies. These are all signs that your child may be experiencing some type of sensory processing challenge, and it's time to get them early intervention support. So if you notice any of these signs that I mentioned, I highly recommend that you seek out early intervention support for your child. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna link a whole separate video exactly about the whole process of early intervention. But if you have any questions about the early intervention process, if you have any questions about how you can seek out early intervention support or other signs that your child may be showing and you're not sure if they would need EI or need early intervention or not, please leave your questions and comments in the description below as well. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell so you are aware of every time I post a new video about helping your child make more progress in their daily lives. All right, guys, until next time, bye.